Okay, so this is my review of the Waizowl Cloud. For clarity purposes, this is the version 1. The only difference between the version 1 and the version 2, as far as I know, is that this comes with a 3395 and the version 2 comes with a 3950. Now, if that matters to you, then get the version 2. But the reason I'm reviewing the version 1 is because you can get this for super cheap on AliExpress right now. This is about 30 quid. I'm going to leave a link to the listing below. Now, you do have to buy the 4K dongle separately. The version 1 only does support up to 4K wireless. The V2 supports up to 8K. But if you can't see the difference between 1K and 8K, 1K and 4K also isn't going to be much of a difference. So I wouldn't buy the dongle if I were you. But anyway, what is the Waizowl Cloud? Well, the Cloud is basically the Steelseries Sensei, but better in every way imaginable. So this is the most recent iteration of the Sensei from, I think, about 5 years ago. I put a lot of hours on this mouse when it came out. I bought this shortly after it came out. I think I used it for about maybe 2 years, something along those lines, around the 2-year mark. And it was underwhelming when it came out, this mouse. It's about 93 grams or thereabouts, shitty rubber cable. The lift-off distance was a little higher than I would have liked. And it also has one of the worst coatings I've ever used on a mouse. So this mouse, in the space of 10 minutes, right? So this is just my hand specifically. This mouse can go from bone dry to absolutely slippery fucking wet in the space of like 10 minutes of use. Yeah, it was unbelievably annoying. But yeah, this mouse and all Steelseries mice, in fact, have been basically abandoned. They haven't put out anything even remotely interesting for, I think, for years now. Really, I don't think they've really put out anything worth looking at. But one way or the other, Waizowl took the Sensei shape, which was basically the only good thing about it by today's standards. They kept that, and then they took everything else and they improved it. What you get in the box is the mouse itself, the manual. You also get some grip tape. Now, on my copy, the version 1, the grip tape seems to be just red, which is fine if you get the red version, but if you get the white version with the orange accents, it's going to look a little tacky. But the good news is, you don't actually need the grip tape on this mouse because the coating on this mouse is superb. Seriously, even when my hand gets a little sweatier, it really still is quite a grippy coating. It's really nice to the touch. I don't know, maybe I just haven't worn it down properly, but to me personally, this is a really nice feeling coating. Speaking of things that feel really nice, the skates on these are absolutely superb. So as far as the stock skates go, these are dual layer PTFE skates. You also get a set of smaller ones if you want a little more speed and less control. So this lighter part around the edges, that's where the skates are rounded. Okay, so these are really nicely rounded, nice and thick, generously sized skates, which I absolutely adore. These are really, really nice. This is the first time I've actually used a mouse where I don't feel any kind of inclination to change the stock skates. So this comes with Huano blue shell pink dot switches, and I will give you a sound test of the switches now. So that this is left and right click. The side buttons. And lastly, the scroll wheel. So yeah, nice and tactile feeling buttons there. I really like the sound of these. They are mechanical, but I don't think that really takes anything away from the mouse. Continuing on, this comes with a 300 milliamp hour battery, which is good for about 80 hours on a 1000 Hz polling rate according to Waizowl. Now, if you do get the 4K dongle for whatever reason, even at 4K polling rate, it should be good for about 20 hours of continuous use. Now, assuming you have a job at one and you're going to run this mouse at 1000 Hz, you're probably not going to need to charge it very often. I've had mine for about a week and I've yet to charge it. On the bottom, you get 2 buttons. So the primary function of the left side button is to change the polling rate. This goes from obviously 125 to 1000 by default. And if you hold it, you can switch between wired, wireless, and Bluetooth mode. On the other side, you get a DPI button that is configured to the default settings 400, 800, 1600, and so on and so forth. So there are 5 steps by default. It also functions as the on and off button for the mouse. Now this LED here on top of the CPI button also functions as your battery indicator. Plug this mouse in right now. It's showing me the status of the battery. See? Now, this is a bit of a design oversight in my opinion. I just don't see why they decided to put the battery indicator on the bottom of the mouse. I would have preferred to have it somewhere like here or on the side even. Honestly, again, it's not that big of a deal, but it's something worth mentioning, I think. You really don't need to use the software for this mouse, to be honest. But I'll show you anyway, in case you choose to. So here we are in the software. So you can really just do your regular software stuff here. Also check your battery if you're so inclined. You can set your DPI, your polling rate, and so on and so forth. Set your macros. Adjust lift-off distance. I suggest keeping this to 1mm. If you like lower, then keep it lower. You can also adjust the debounce time. This is set to, I think, 6 milliseconds by default. Either 4 or 6 milliseconds by default. I just took it down to 0 because why not? You can also adjust how the sensor performs. The only one that you could possibly take advantage of is ripple control, the ripple control feature here. But that requires you to be over a DPI of 9000, which I don't think anyone plays 10,000 fucking DPI. You can also adjust your double click speed here. I just left this on default. And yeah, that's about it, to be fair. Now, as for the mouse's in-game performance, there's really nothing to complain about. I mean, it performs just as well as any mouse from the last 5 years. The 3395 is a top sensor for a reason. There's really nothing about it that I can, honest to God, say is bad, you know. Now let's talk about obviously the shape. And the shape is the iconic Sensei, as mentioned previously. Now this is a bit of a big mouse at first. This is on the larger side, but even me with medium to smaller hands, right? I don't have very big hands. I've always loved this shape. I think a big help with that is that it's sufficiently narrow at the grip width. So where I usually put my fingers, this is narrow enough and has enough inward curvature from top to bottom to help you with picking it up and holding it properly. So even someone with medium to smaller hands, 17 by 10 like myself, I really don't think you're gonna have much issue using this mouse. This is really nice. I could palm grip this if I wanted. I don't, because it's just not my natural way of using a mouse. I just like to claw grip this or like palm claw. I can push this mouse back nicely into my palm when I'm controlling recoil in game. I mean, traditionally I would prefer mice where the hump is towards the back. This is a little bit more towards the middle, so it's slightly, just ever so slightly toward the back. For some reason, everything about this mouse, it just looks lovely. It feels great to use, and if you're looking for a big mouse that's lightweight, also comes in at 55 grams. So let's say somewhere between 55 and 60 grams. It's not that big of a difference. I'm not gonna bust out the scale for that now. If you're looking for something that is high quality that you can just use straight out the box, this is it. One of the best mice I've used. Certainly, at least in the skate department, this is going to be my benchmark from now on. This is going to be what I'm going to measure all future stock skates against, because these are absolutely brilliant. They really are very nice. So yeah, as I said at the start, the link is in the description for the AliExpress listing. And thank you for watching.